the USGP, it has ended. What a race it was. Congratulations to Max Verstappen. The heat is up, the resurgence is here, and the push is there. So Max Verstappen has started eking out the time he has lost. He has started pushing with the newfound pace the Red Bull have had in the last 4-5 races. It has shown that they are in it to win it. 40 points away from Oscar Piastri, the championship leader, and 26 points away from Lando Norris. Yes, all thanks to yesterday's Oscar Piastri and Nico Hülkenberg. I won't call it brouhaha. Oscar Piastri was trying to race. I can't blame him, and I can't blame Nico Hülkenberg. For me, the racing incident, you can't see an opening and you don't go for it naturally. That is racing. He went for it in a bad space on turn 1, and you know, those are things you see in racing. And congratulations to Max Verstappen once again. Like I said, he won the sprint race yesterday, he won the race today. And when we look at why McLaren are not really where they should be, I think on sprint race weekends, like I said earlier in their head, what determines are not just the driver but the team, how they can set up the car in the right space that the car should perform. If they cannot set up the car in a way the car will perform, at the end of the day they failed. And how do they set up the car in a way that the car will perform? You get there, you set the car up so that it can be as the best lowest it can be without wearing the plank, and also to give the best performance. But with the two drivers being out in the sprint race, they cannot get all those data, and at the end of the day those data affected them and they were just out. They were not there. Red Bull learned a lot yesterday. They saw what they were missing. They knew that if McLaren had been in the race yesterday, they would be nowhere. So they made those changes, especially to the rear of Max Verstappen that is dancing up and down like Malongo. They made the changes they need to make to it, and biggie, and they went for it, and that was it. It was an opportunity for them to just push themselves, get the best out, and shine out there, you know. And today they did the job. To McLaren, I would say welcome back to reality, because I've said this, championship is all about sacrifice. You want to win. Oscar has been leading for over 60-something points. Let him lead. Let Lando support him. But you want both of them to fight for it. And they've lost some races, lost some momentum. And even before the middle of the season, they are back. Still not right in tune. Still not right on point. They are still struggling. With Red Bull finding good pace, which I will still talk about. It is huge for Red Bull to find themselves back in the championship and go down for it. Put everything and let us go for it. We don't have any choice. They are there. Though McLaren, for me, they've stopped bringing upgrades. They can only bring some bits. But if you look at the antecedents, when you look at Red Bull Mercedes 2021, Red Bull were still bringing upgrades, and they came in 2022. They shown. So coming into next year, Red Bull would know that the upgrades they are bringing is either coming to hurt them back, or they will sacrifice 2026 and see what 2027 will be like. At the point of sacrificing 2026, let them look at what is the best they can get from this year and probably winning the Drivers' Championship, and that's why they're going all out for it. For me, quite a job they've done. Ferrari too, they've stopped bringing upgrades, and the Ferrari has been shallow. They've not been in contention, no upgrades, nothing. But I think Ferrari are finding what they need to find now, which is, now that you don't have upgrade, how can you maximize the car? And I've said from the beginning of the season, the car has pace in it. The car is good, but the problem is setting up the car. Now we are knowing that the car itself is on a knife edge. The edge in which the car is on is worse than the edge in which the Red Bull is on, because the car has to be on edge, but you need the right floor, you need the right front wings and rear wings to make that car perform, in which I think they're struggling with. One of the problems Ferrari has is that they cannot lower the car to the performing optimal of the car. Two things will happen if they do that. They lower the car to that performance optimal, the car might lose its rear end. Two, it will eat up the plank, and when there's plank where they get disqualified. Those are the two major issues Ferrari are having, so they don't want to put that in their head going into any race because of the headache it gives them. But in the two recent races, like I said, Lewis Hamilton has been shining. Yes, he has not been coming in with the points he deserves. Look at Singapore. He was ahead of his teammate. He was fourth. He was coming in fourth, and the brake issue took him out totally. From fourth, he lost a lot of places, plus his 5-second penalty. Yesterday he came fourth, today he came fourth, and he could have gone higher. But if you look at it, his momentum has changed, and I think the driver with the biggest momentum from the shift of the season, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton. And if you look at the race today, was almost losing the fourth position to Oscar Piastri because the front tire was gone. And for me, while they were racing, I thought they would have left him up until lap 36, but lap 31 I was still 30-31, I was skeptical that changing Lewis Hamilton's tire might result into brake issue. But unfortunately, it was just a tire issue. I don't know what Ferrari is thinking, seriously. I think Ferrari needs to find a peaceful point for themselves, because if races keeps going like this, they are putting their driver on the edge of getting out, or in a position in which the driver is struggling. It is going to really bite them, and it's going to bite them hard. On the tire, I think races has been so dull recently. Races are not what we think races should be, because if you look at recent races, a lot of drivers have struggled, because you look at how the performance had been, it has been shallow. For the past few years, tires, we've complained about tires. Drivers cannot go all out, which gives us more on engineering strategy, but you see drivers preserving tires like eggs. When you push too much, you lose tire life, the tire might go out. When you push less, you save tire, and at the end of the day, we are seeing them using medium soft instead of the Pirelli thought of medium hard. Those that use the hard tire didn't enjoy it, like Albon, they quickly changed it. So it shows that tire is a huge problem in F1. But to Mercedes coming in 6th and 14th, Antonelli had his squabble with Carlos Sainz that puts Carlos Sainz out. I think Carlos Sainz will be taking penalties for the next race in Mexico. That was a harsh one for Antonelli. He had to go to the rear and start all over again, which he was able to eke out the fastest lap from Max Verstappen, which did not allow Max Verstappen to get the Grand Slam today, because he could have won a full Grand Slam. Sprint pole, sprint race, main race pole, win, and fastest lap, and also was on pole position from the start of the race to the end. So that again did not work for him, because Kimi Antonelli stole that fastest lap, but it was not a good one for him. And for Mercedes, they struggled, though it was a different track, it was a different thing in which they were looking at, but it didn't work out for them. They lost. We look at Yuki Tsunoda. To me, Yuki Tsunoda will not be in F1 next year, because I have always said it. He's not the driver in plans for Red Bull, but I think Red Bull will promote Aja in that seat, bring in Lindblad, send Yuki Tsunoda as a reserve driver in any of the team. Or if Yuki Tsunoda says, oh, he's not going to be the reserve driver, what do they do? He leaves for Aston Martin, because Aston Martin will be having under engine and Yuki Tsunoda is an under driver, so they will have to expel him one way or the other. But I think it's going to be a great one, seeing what Yuki Tsunoda has done and how he has struggled in that Red Bull second seat. Is not an easy seat. Is a cost seat. I think I've made a video about it. That seat is cost. A difficult day in the office for Williams. Alex Albon 14th, Carlos Sainz 20th out. A difficult day after the performance of the sprint race yesterday, and also the signs they've shown. A difficult day in the office for them. And to Alonso and Aston Martin, great race for Alonso, got in some points. Lance Stroll did a very beautiful race. From where he was able to end the race in 12th position. What a race he had today, because he pushed himself. He's not looking at, oh, I'm where I am, no more overtakes. Great race for him, and I hope they can bring more heat into this in the next few races. Great way to end the Grand Prix for Nico Hülkenberg, finishing the race 8th, started outside the points, finished in 8th. Great race for him. Gabriel Bortoleto ended 18th, was only able to overtake Gasly on the last lap, but Nico Hülkenberg has been on fire all through the weekend. With that Mercedes power, Sauber, he has been on fire, and he brought the fire to the track. He really proved himself. He raised the hell out of the race. Oliver Biermann and Esteban Ocon had his own squabbles too, but he struggled. But Oliver Biermann coming into the point also, after a great race yesterday, he got a 5-second penalty, got out of the point, but today he came in, got point for the team, a massive one for him. So I think it was already an interesting race. Going to Mexico next week will be great. Will the McLaren be able to come up with a good upgrade that will challenge till the end of the season? The points are getting closer. I don't want us to see what happened in 2021 again. I want us to have a good race. Every driver enjoyed the race. We can focus ahead on the next thing, what the next big thing is. But what do you expect? We expect good racing, and when it gets to races like this, we see drivers like Max Verstappen bringing out not just elbows, head boots, and their whole aggression, which might cause a lot of controversy in the way people speak about the races. But I think these times we are in the race will be very interesting, and we would see how a lot of people will manage themselves, especially the media and the teams, because nobody wants to experience that and that kind of a result, and it's going to be a testament of how FIA and F1 have improved, and also what could happen, when it is a different team. But certainly it's going to be an interesting season as we are entering into it. To Alpine, I think Alpine, they were out of the points, they were out of the race. They never had a good race today. They were not even close to a good race. At a point, the team told them to maintain position, but Clapito is fighting for his life, he's fighting for his seat. It was like, what you guys saying? He overtook Gasly and left Gasly all alone, because Gasly could have been giving him DRS so that the DRS can both would keep both himself and Gasly in a point in which they would end 17-18. But at the end of the day, he overtook him because Gasly was already struggling. But Toledo had it easy on Gasly, and that was it. But going into Mexico, for Ferrari, for Mercedes, for McLaren, and Red Bull, is going to be a different track. High altitude, about 3,000 meters in elevation, above sea level, which means we are going into another hot race. The tire deck will be high. A different track, so they are bringing a different rear wings, a bulkier rear wings on each cars, and also there will be some front wing changes and changes that would change the way the vortices are. So it's going to be a different track. How will they be able to perform? Will the McLaren still play this sick game they are playing, that, oh, we give our two drivers priority, we don't want to do this, we don't want to do that? If they're still playing that game, I think it's going to be a disaster in the making. I don't want to say more than that. It's going to be a disaster in the making for them, because they're just going to ruin their own season themselves, and at the end of the day, they are going to regret it. If not subscribe, please subscribe to this channel. Like, share, comment. We answer your questions. We are here for you for motorsports in Africa and in Nigeria. I love you guys. Please don't miss any of our episodes. Catch you guys during the week with shorts, and also in Mexico. I love you guys. Bye. Cheers.